Back to it. I didn't realize we were basically at the end of that episode. There's only like 2 minutes left, so I guess we'll move on from there. I have to listen to this. Ooh, that's a free movie. We should get down on that later.
Oh, I get it, and I feel it, and I appreciate
Yeah, you do.
Crowder expressing how he feels. I really do, and I don't know what my fight is. I don't have a fight with Steven Crowder. Steven, good to see you. There was a lot you said about me there in the intro. I don't remember because I'm getting older. I wish I'd written down some of it. I did my best for the past week because I knew Charlie as well, not to say that this guy was a right wing. He came from a God-fearing gun Utah family. He was definitely right, like some on the left did. I didn't know who he was until we had the facts and the evidence. And it's clear, Pierce and Stephen, that this was a... I had
the facts and the evidence, and I told you he was on the left from the bullet engravings that we received from a leak, and you said we were wrong, and people on the left said we were wrong, and that matters because the shooter was still out there, and so was the Kirk family. I'm trying to save lives.
Stephen,
you gonna save lives, Joe?
Maybe some people did. I don't know when I ever said you were wrong anywhere.
So what is he? I mean, it shouldn't matter this much, but is he right or left?
No.
He's got a.
This guy is not a left-wing extremist.
He's got a furry trans boyfriend. Like, I would assume he's on the left.
From the moment
oh, my shit's going through the mud again.
I said,
let it go through the mud.
Who did it? And once we found out who did it, we don't know why he did it. So let's all wait to figure out why he did it.
Had to catch up.
Yesterday, Stephen.
And I remember you saying that he sold.
Probably my computer. Probably just need to clean out my computer.
And criticizing his wife.
Stephen, let me finish, brother, please. And then we find out in no uncertain terms, by the way, Pierce, which I think all of us could have guessed, this was a political assassination. This 22-year-old young man hated Charlie, and so he picked up that gun and he shot him.
It's just windy.
Clearly, and as you've said, Pierce, it's clear that of late he had become radicalized with leftist ideology. Now we know it. This will go down in history as an act of left-wing political violence. Yes.
I mean, I would say, Stephen, that is an honest statement there from Joe. But
it's not.
Yeah, but is it honest on your side, Stephen? Be honest. Is it honest to say there is no problem with violence on the political right? Because there has been historically a lot of violence associated with the far right in America. That again is just a demonstrable fact. To pretend there's never been any is to be disingenuous.
Demonstrable fact by what? No, it's not to be disingenuous. It's absolutely correct. And I understand because I've seen Joe and people of his ilk retweeting these out there. It either comes from Cato Institute or it comes from a recent Economist article. I can tell you how all of those numbers are wrong. Remember the man in Portland? Remember Aaron Danielson, who was shot dead point blank by an Antifa member? Michael Reinhold, who said, we got a Trump supporter.
A lot of people didn't know about that one.
That wasn't listed.
I ask people about that, and they're like,
the year 2020,
what? That never happened. No, it did. I was living here then.
And I have brilliant researchers who have. It is demonstrably untrue. No one is saying there is no violence on the right. What I am saying is that people on the right have to have armed security, flak jackets, an entire strategy when they go out, and those on the left don't. That is verifiably true. What is dishonest is to say we didn't know. You know what else wouldn't have been included in these crime stats? And anyone want to make this argument? You're talking to the wrong guy. The Covenant High School shooting. Audrey Hale. Cato said we included it because it was borderline, even though the police said they didn't think it was politically motivated. If not for the undercover journalism unit of a comedy show right here, no one would have known that motivation. We found it, we leaked it, we processed it, we verified it, and we were met with resistance and threats of lawsuits from the local police department, the mayor, and the FBI. They said it was a lie on the outset, just like they said the engravings on the bullet casings were a lie on the outset. The left lies, they label you fascist, they label you a totalitarian, and how do you deal with those people? Well, you don't do it at the ballot box. We all know that.
It's not just how the news is told, but what's left out, which concerns me.
Oh, need to go up and around.
Recommended I try ground news. I gave it a go. But honestly, I was impressed. It does something brilliant, which most news platforms are afraid to do. It's an app that lines up coverage of the same story from across the left, right, international, and lays it all out side by side. That kind of transparency is increasingly rare and is vital. Ground News
Sit right up
dig
here.
in and find the facts by showing you who owns each outlet, what their bias is, and which stories are being
Do these
buried.
rock
That's
ones, you
especially
can't
revealing blind
climb
spot
up.
feed, which
Oh, it's
services
at the
stories
top,
being
I think.
reported
Oh,
almost
oh, oh,
exclusively
oh.
by only one side of the political divide. I want to hear every side before making up my mind. Ground News makes that possible and easy. It's
Good
independent,
lord.
funded by subscribers, and
Noisy cricket.
interest, just like my show. And it's a tool that puts the power back in your hands. Go to groundnews.com/peers to claim your 40% discount.
Peers.
The unlimited access Vantage plan and see what everyone
This
else
gun,
is
though.
missing.
What is this, GMR?
groundnews.com/peers.
Ridiculous. It's just really strong. Even the non-crits are really strong.
By the way, I know there's a poster behind Joe Walsh right next to his No Kings poster.
Just standard shots. Yeah, that was a shot to the leg. Did half his health.
If you're against Juneteenth as a holiday, it's violence. You're pro First Amendment, violence because you're inciting violence. You're pro Second Amendment, violence because we believe people should be able to commit gun violence. And then if we remain silent, that's also violence. And so people deal with the right with violence. Here's my challenge. Find me one example of a Charlie Kirk on the left. Not an elected official. I'll allow any speaker, any comedian. This century, one example of somebody who was murdered, assassinated, hemorrhaged out in front of his family in cold blood and gleefully celebrated thereafter. And the polls show that a majority, according to YouGov recently, of Democrats think it's somewhat too acceptable. 38%, 77% of Republicans said not acceptable at all.
Okay, let Joe
What I'm
respond.
saying is that Charlie Kirk was hunted. He was hunted. We are being hunted, and I don't want to see any more dead friends. Violence, absolutely. Lawful, ruthless, defensive violence.
Okay, Joe.
Pierce, I'll just be brief again. The data is pretty clear, and historically it's been pretty clear that there's political violence on the right and the left in this country for years. And I could argue
It's mostly the
I
left.
won't hear that there's historically been more.
It's like, I agree, but it's mostly the
coming
left.
From the right. But suffice to say, I think you and I, Pierce, would agree. There's a history of.
It's almost like it's
there's
always
a-
condemned
Stephen,
when
let
it's on
me
the right,
finish,
though.
man, please.
Like, even the
Please
right will
argue
condemn
it.
it.
You can't just make
But
a vague
when
claim
it's
and
on the
not
left, it's like,
substantiate it.
well, it's not that big of a
Pierce,
deal.
You and I would agree.
It's
for
like,
the
what
sake
the
of this
fuck?
conversation,
No, it's
that
always
political
wrong.
violence is in fact a both sides problem. Stephen, you would acknowledge, I think,
You get that guy
there
over
is
there.
political violence on, and there has been political violence on
Here we go,
the
here we
right
go,
as
here we
well.
go.
So why don't we all just condemn it all? That's what we all should do.
No, I'm with him. If he actually means it, but
No, I don't agree with the premise, and I'm having to agree with a nebulous premise because you presented no facts. The very source that you cite, and by the way, I'll
Stephen?
make all of mine publicly available. Hold on, I'm finishing
Stephen?
now. Let's do it like grown-ups. You
Can
can
I
cite
just-
your
can I ask
sources
you one
online.
question?
George Floyd riots.
just
George
running
Floyd
things over in
riots
this
not
game.
included.
I don't know why it's so
Stephen,
stupidly enjoyable.
Not included.
Stephen, one
Antifa not
question.
included. Man shot dead for voting Trump not included. Those numbers are not to be trusted.
Because it like does no
Now there's
harm
someone
to him.
parroting.
It does
I'll
no
answer your question
damage.
if you answer one of mine after. Go ahead, please.
Melissa Hortman, the Democratic state legislator in Minnesota 3 months ago, gunned down by an anti-abortion Trump supporter. Yes or no?
Wrong. How do I know? Because Vance Bolter, the man who did it, wrote in his letter that it had nothing to do with Trump or being pro-life. He blamed Tim Walz. And here's what you also don't see. Did you see anyone at the Hortman's funerals or vigils spitting on them? Or pantomiming, being shot in the neck? Did you see anyone celebrating the death of them gleefully?
Yes.
Did you see so many professors
Yes.
doing so, showing children a
Yes.
snuff? Really? Point me to one.
Yes.
Point me to one person spitting at their vigil. Let me guess, you're going to go to Mike Lee?
Utah
How do I
Senator
predict
Mike
everything
Lee
you say all the
mocked
time?
attack.
How?
Donald Trump.
He didn't mock the attack.
But
Yes, he did.
okay,
Donald
let me
Trump.
jump in. Let me
Anyone
jump
I
in.
did-
spit at the
Stephen,
vigil.
let me
I honestly don't even know what they're
Stephen,
talking
let me
about.
give you an example.
Pierce, I don't.
No,
do.
hang on.
Go ahead, Pierce.
Hang on. I would give an example
above it.
where the right behaved very badly, and that was over the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. I
Yes.
saw the gleeful responses after that from the right, the memes, the mockery, and so on. I thought that was very distasteful.
Yeah, I think I saw a little bit of that.
If you want to argue an equivalency
I think it was
between a
more
man
hilarious
with
just
hammer
the
and
situation
a
at hand.
and a man bleeding out in front of his child.
I'm not
Go
saying
ahead.
they're equivocal. I'm just saying
It
it's
was
an
just a
example
weird
where I've got
situation.
people on the right
I saw more people
complete
laughing
lack
at
of
that than
humanity
what
towards
happened to the
man
guy
who'd been
directly.
attacked because he happened to be married to Nancy Pelosi.
It was just a very
political
odd
opponent. And so
situation.
it's not
I
like
don't
this
even
never.
think it-
It's not like this has
I don't
never.
even
But yeah, it
it's-
sounds like the guy that
I
was
don't agree. I
attacking
don't
him
think it's
was
even remotely
fucking
proportional. Let me
psycho.
ask a question here. This is why I'm giving this message, and this is why I hope people listen and protect.
But
their
it
own.
was a very
Joe
weird
Walsh,
situation,
you're there.
and it was kind
To
of
answer your
comical.
question, you're there.
But
Utah,
yeah,
in
what
the
happened to
it's
him?
not an
No,
ulcer, it's not a dirty
I
upset.
didn't see a ton of
But
people
it's a
laughing
man
about that.
winding up a milkshake for Charlie Kirk. We don't know if it's strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, acid, or concrete. Do you stop him? Do you hurt him? That hesitation tells me that you are not amongst us, and cowards are dangerous to have in their ranks.
Stephen,
Because it's not a
let me answer
hypothetical,
your
it's happened.
question. Let me answer your question.
Do you stop him? Do you hurt him?
I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. I honestly, I don't.
Someone
What do you
winding up a
mean?
milkshake to launch at Charlie Kirk.
Get
You
out of the
don't know
way.
Strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, acid, or concrete.
You
see
dick.
him or
Get
anyone
out of the
else does. Do
door.
you stop him and hurt him?
Yes.
Come
I
on.
certainly stop him. I do all I can to stop him. Yes.
Good. There's a start. That's what I'm advocating.
Sue.
Single person out there, because we have been living with this shadow over us. And I know, look, here's the thing too, Joe. I understand your rhetoric. I understand where you're coming from.
I was hoping
And
if I
know that
don't
you
look
met
at it,
Charlie when
it'll
he was
give me a
16, as
gold.
understand.
I don't know
Right?
if
He was
they'll
very, very
ever
young.
give me a gold
And I
out of these
understand that, Joe,
machines.
You were somewhat of a mentor figure. It's because of the failure of Republicans like you that me and Charlie Kirk exist.
This dude's a Republican?
Willing to take back the territory that has been conceded.
Seems like an
and
independent.
We are willing to pay with our lives. We shouldn't have to be.
Or maybe a
Academia,
rhino.
media,
He doesn't
the
seem like a
press, big
Republican.
tech shouldn't be dominated by the left exclusively all the time. Charlie Kirk shouldn't be out there alone, sitting in that chair, taking on all comers. He shouldn't be inspired by people like me, who are comedians. He should have been inspired by people like you. Instead, he was inspired to go the other way. Maybe that's why he said he saw Donald Trump before the body was cold. Still want to do the National Scotsman holier than thou thing?
And Stephen, I'm assuming you would do the same, correct? If somebody were throwing a chocolate milkshake at a left-wing speaker, correct?
You know,
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up is because we didn't.
It's physical assault. Yeah, you never see that from the right. Exactly.
No, I didn't. I didn't, and now I would. Now
Yeah,
I would.
yeah, you would.
Because
It's
now I would.
physical
Yes, have I
assault.
answered your question? Yes, now
It's like,
I
what are
would.
you doing, dude?
Everybody
Plus, it
else
makes
is
you look
saying
bad.
things
You
now.
just look like an idiot. It's like,
Stephen,
why are you throwing
common
shit?
ground. You and I, two Americans,
Absolutely.
would both stop any politically violent attack on any public figure or speaker that we saw. You and I agree to that. And you and I hope, would
Sure.
both agree that we should condemn all political violence. End of story.
I am condemning, of course, all political violence. It is coming
Thank
from
you.
one side, and the prescription is ruthless, aggressive, defensive, lawful violence on anyone who tries. If someone behaves in a way, for example, I've been sucker punched, I've been collar dragged, I've had attempts on my life, I have been doxxed. If anyone behaves in a way where if they behave that way at a town hall, at a restaurant, you with your family, would result in their severe ass beating, they deserve it at a political rally, they deserve it at a private function and a public speaking engagement, and the right has not been doing that because we've been taking the high road and the left has acted with
There it
impunity.
is.
That's why you see professors, it's not just that they're showing children a snuff film on repeat in order to create a generation of psychopaths, by the way, that's how you do it. It's that so many professors are doing it because they don't fear any ramifications. You can't find that on the right. Find me one example of a Charlie Kirk, not an elected official, a person who did nothing more than express his opinion and allow anyone else to do the same, who lost
And I
his
also,
life.
I also think in relation
We
to that,
wouldn't
that,
hear the end of it
I
if
saw
it
Charlie
was the
Kirk's
other way,
producer today
like
getting
the other way
emotional
around,
as he
where it
talked
was like
about
a,
the difference, for
I
example,
don't know,
between
just
the
like a
reaction
socialist,
to the murder
just
of George Floyd, which I
really
thought was
speaking their mind.
despicable, and the murder of
It's like we would
Charlie
hate
Kirk,
it,
which was despicable, is that one
but
precipitated,
going as far as
nationwide
this is
rioting
like
and
this has
lawlessness,
gotten
as
is
people
just
were
I don't
so
know.
enraged they took to the
I
streets,
don't see it
and the
escalating to that
other
point.
took to people going to church.
It really it takes the left to do something like this. And even if it was a professional hit and it wasn't the left directly
I
hit,
thought it was an interesting observation.
it takes the left
Joe.
to encourage
No,
something
no,
like
no,
this
no,
because there's too many
And
Christians on
I
the right to
appreciate that,
encourage
Let me sneak in one more
like
thing before
the
Stephen goes off.
assassination of a left voice
The
of
assassination
anybody,
Democrat,
anybody.
Melissa
Christians
Hortman in
don't,
Minnesota
real
by an
Christians don't like
anti-abortion
they would
Trump
be
supporter
no. you
You
condemn
couldn't
it no
see
matter
much
what.
else after that. The
And it
other
wouldn't
thing,
work like that,
you
so it
did
would have to
not
take the
see
left.
let me finish, Stephen. Let me finish, brother.
Man who blamed
After
Tim
a
Walz. Truth
Democrat-
matters. Truth.
after
Dishonesty
a
foments
Democrat-
violence, Joe.
After a Democrat was assassinated in Minnesota, you also did not see the Democratic Party and the left declaring a war on the right, saying that they did it.
I think, well, we need more details about that story. I heard a little bit about that story. We didn't really get any details as to who it was, and if it was a right winger, we would have heard the end of
Charlie
it.
Kirk's murder. Condemn it, and we should also
So,
condemn anyone using Charlie Kirk's
I think that's
murder
significant.
to declare some war on half of the country, and this is a battle between good and evil. Both of those reactions
Wrong.
are dangerous and despicable.
Final word
What
to
is that?
Stephen. Stephen, final word
Survivalist
to you.
Kasha.
Yeah, wrong. I think using Charlie Kirk as saying that he sold his soul to Trump before the body's even cold. I agree with Charlie Kirk's reaction to George Floyd because the media lied. Lies foment dishonesty. And I'm not calling for a civil war. I made it very clear I want the left to be able to continue to speak without security as they often do. I just want them to be deathly afraid to try what they've been doing with the right for a very long, forevermore going forward. But if we talk about this, hey, there's one time that there weren't riots. Yeah, what about all the times that there were and they weren't registered as violent crime? Charlie Kirk didn't hurt anybody. George Floyd did. Charlie Kirk is very, very different from George Floyd. Dishonesty is what foments, I'll leave you with this, is what foments violence. And you know what? When you say war of good and evil, show me one time where the people who are actually evil are willing to paint a war of good and evil. Because you know what? If it ever comes to that, God forbid, maybe the people advocating for abortion up until and including birth and genital mutilation for children, including hiding them from their parents in the state of Minnesota, maybe they could look around at themselves and say, hey, if this is a war of good and evil, maybe we're the bad guys.
Free stuff.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you both so very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
If you're stressed about back taxes, miss the April deadline, or your books are a mess, well, don't wait. The
You give me
IRS is
one
cracking
purple.
down. Penalties
Ooh,
add up
what's this?
fast, 5% per month, and up to 25% for not filing. Tax Network USA
I'll
can
take
help.
it, but I
They've assisted
doubt I'll use
thousands
it.
of Americans, from employees to business owners and people who haven't filed for years. They have direct
If it's
access
blue,
to
I don't know. It's got to be
programs
very
and
special.
expert negotiators on your side. Tax
gotta at least
Network
be
USA
purple.
knows how to win. You'll get a free consultation, and they may even be able to reduce or eliminate what you owe. So don't wait for the next IRS letter. Call 800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/peers. That's tnusa.com/peers.
Peers.
Help on your taxes. Charlie Kirk used new media to devastating effect in his mission to mobilize young people with his conservative movement. He understood the power of a viral moment to cut
this
through
thing does
complex
work.
argument and the great appetite for proper debate. Just two of many things we all love about our digital culture. There's plenty of things many
And I
of us
like
find
it because it's not.
repellent
It
about
doesn't seem
too.
cheap like the
Witch
other one
hunts,
was.
style smears,
The
ignorant
other one was
using real
glitched
life,
though. Let's be
and the
real.
business of saying things
I wasn't
purely to
running out of
generate
ammo.
attention through rage. Many prominent figures on the right have accused Don Lemon of doing exactly that this week, ironically.
Yeah, that
for making
shit's
the very
funny.
same claim
It was
about
just-
them.
I just
think
run
that
it.
is
I would
so
just
obvious
hold
about
down the trigger. I wasn't letting go.
And I think this is so disgusting is that you don't really care. You don't really care about Charlie Kirk. What you care is that this is a moment that you can use for clicks, to boost your podcast or your streaming show or your radio show or your television show or your news show or
Where is
your,
this thing?
MAGA bona fides with the MAGA group or your political stripes, that you can improve it, or you can have a moment where you're crying in front of the cameras. You gather all the reporters at the Capitol and you go, and it's your fault, and it's your fault, and
Oh
it's the
boy!
left, and whatever.
Stop talking.
Well, Don Lemon is, of course, a former CNN
Oh,
anchor like me, who
no.
now hosts
Is
the
he
Don
on?
Lemon Show,
Tell me
which
he's
you
on.
hear frequently in many popular podcasts, and he joins me now. Don, how are you?
Oh no!
I'm doing very well. How are you? Good to see
Oh,
We were
buddy.
both-
introduction, but it's great to see you.
We were both greatly lamented ex-CNN anchors. In fact, we shared an office. You took my old office, so I feel like we've got a lot in history together. Your reaction to Charlie Kirk's murder has stirred up a lot of anger on people on the right, particularly the clip we just heard where you talk about them not really caring about what happened to him and just reacting for clicks, crying for clicks, and so on. I've interviewed quite a few people who are on the conservative right who knew Charlie Kirk well. I've not detected any of that myself. I do think that they were genuinely
Do I
utterly
need to like
horrified
get
by
on the
what
top of
happened.
that or
Did you
something?
not think
Is that what
he
I got to
said
do?
there was insensitive?
I'm honestly not sure.
No, I don't. I'm surprised because I was actually taking up for Charlie Kirk. I was taking up for him as someone who died a horrible, untimely death. And that
Maybe
there are
there's
people
more
who are out here
inside,
trying
yeah.
to capitalize off of his death. I don't think it's that much different than what his friend, who is his confirmed friend, Candace Owens, is saying about folks who are using it for political and for career expediency. There are those who are doing it, and there are those who are not. And if you
Oh,
are
I bet
not,
you it is in
then
here.
I don't think anyone who's not doing it took any offense to it. You know, there's an old saying here in America: "A hit dog will holler." So the folks who I felt a certain kind of way, and that I touched with that statement or those statements, then perhaps they should take a
sorry,
look at
turn off
themselves.
your radio.
By the way, as you know, peers, you've been a victim of this. Many of us have been a victim to this. You take a clip, you do a short clip that is out of context, and then you make it into something that you want it
Fix
to
your
be,
audio,
rather than
Dawn.
what I said. I don't see many people on the right at all of me running clips of me
Yeah,
saying,
him and
I
Anna
think, it
Kasparian
was
had really
horrible what
bad
happened
audio
to
the other
Charlie
day
Kirk. It
too.
should never have happened. I feel terrible for his wife and his kids. The kids are fatherless. She does not have a husband right now. I don't believe in political violence at all, whether it comes from the right or the left. No one played those clips. What they did was take someone like me that they can demonize. They feel that I'm on the left. As you know, peers, we work together. I'm not on the left. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not on the right either. I have my own mind, and I make up my mind, and I decide on issues based on what I believe in and based on facts, not a certain
No, you're one of the
political
biggest
ideology.
puppets I've ever seen, but all right. I mean,
I would say
we'll
that
just-
you're clearly a lot more left than right, surely. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never heard you espouse a conservative sentiment.
not a single thing.
I am a lot more fact-based than I am anything.
Plasma
So
coil.
I believe you are free to think that I'm on the left, and perhaps in this time that we're in now with the Trump administration and with MAGA, perhaps facts are on the left, and if you deem that being on
Oh,
the left, then so be it.
shit.
I don't see myself as being a political figure or a figure who's on the
I mean,
left.
it's interesting. It's interesting
I
your
believe in
characterization about facts because
Yeah,
you know,
they're
I would
never
argue
on the
that
left.
one of the reasons Trump
Ever.
got re-elected against all the odds, if you think about
You
what
guys
happened
just
after
say
January
shit.
6th and
You just
everything
say
else,
shit.
the fact that he got re-elected, I always felt was three-pronged, right? One was immigration. I think Biden completely dropped the ball
Probably
with
this
immigration, particularly on
guy.
the southern border. Second, the economy.
Plasma coil?
And thirdly, the whole woke issue, the whole woke culture, and in particular, I would say, the issue, for example, of trans athletes in women's sport, which is, to me, if you're talking about facts, it is something that most Americans look
Where
at and
go?
went, you know what, this is ridiculous. How can you deny biological reality? How can you go against scientific fact? So many would argue that it was the Democrats who lost
Oscar
track of
Mike.
facts and moved into a slightly strange, surreal place where they were trying to deny stuff which most Americans went, well, that's ridiculous.
Look, I would not qualify it the way that you're qualifying it. I do believe that you have a point about the Democratic Party not understanding the moment that we're in, that America's in right now. As far as trans athletes, I think that was, although I understand to certain people it is a big deal, it is such a minute,
It was
small
an
percentage of the
SNG.
population, and the trans athletes that are actually in schools and that are competing in competitions. It's so minor. It affects so few Americans. I'm shocked that it was used to the level that it was in the election, and to great success. And so I must commend the Republicans on an issue that wasn't really an issue for most Americans, that they made it into something that helped to catapult this president into office. Now,
But you see, I've heard a lot of Democrats using that argument.
There
And
it
I've
is.
said
I was
to
like,
them,
where
one
is
of the
this
most
thing?
effective- I'm not saying you're a Democrat. I'm just saying I've heard a lot of Democrats say it. And my argument to them has been, yeah, but the New York Times reported that the They Them ad that
Whoa.
Trump put out, which gathered momentum and then became used more and more and more, was
That's
one
pretty
of the
dope.
most effective.
I think it was extremely successful.
It was one of the most successful
I agree.
modern political adverts because it cut to the point, I think, again, about common sense that most Americans actually, you know, maybe they don't have it in their top 5 things they care about. I would absolutely accept that. But when you actually ask them, do you think this is fair? Do you think it's right? Do you think it's equal? Do you think it's good? That
It's
women's
gotta be up
rights will
there.
be eroded. They actually
I don't
then
know.
do get quite
I'm
exercised
probably just
about
gonna
it.
come back to this one. I'm not seeing anything. The navs is not
Hello and
helping.
welcome.
It's putting me
We begin with some
right
breaking
into
news.
nothing.
Woke is dead. The war on common sense is officially over. Cancelled celebrities are emerging
Can you get up there?
from jail. Virtue signaling has been outlawed under punishment of mass ridicule, and we are finally free to call a spade a spade. So what was the cause of death? How did the silenced majority finally win? And what exactly is going to take its place? Woke is Dead is my definitive story on the rise and fall of woke, as well as the common sense heroes and PC villains who have dominated news and culture across 10 years of madness. It's also my personal roadmap back to a less divided world. A world where we can
Is this
agree
posse,
to
Brett?
disagree,
No, I don't think this
where
goes high
debate
enough.
triumphs over censorship, and
Crap.
where common sense is king. You will be shocked by how
I
much
think you
agree
can get up there though. So that
Look,
changes
I'm not here
things.
to argue over trans rights. I don't think it necessarily cut to the argument of.
I didn't think you
sense.
could
I
get
think
up
they
there.
simply found an issue that they could.
I don't know
capitalize
how.
on based on fear.
How do you get up
or,
there?
You know, some perceived religious value or what have you. So I'm not going to
Is
sit
it
here
posse,
and
Bray?
demonize trans people, trans women, or trans men because I just don't
Eh,
think that
posse,
is
Bray.
fair and that is productive in this moment. I'm not going to go back and litigate why Donald Trump won and on the issue of trans. We simply disagree on that. I think it affects so few people. I think it was something that was blown out of proportion. And while there may be some people who are affected by it, and if they
Son of
are,
a
I'm sorry
bitch.
that happens. But
I'm
happen
not
or
sure.
happens, but I just don't think that was an issue that focuses.
So when
on
you see,
common
for
sense, I think
example,
it was
in
just
the
something that
Paris
was exploited.
Olympics, when you saw Imam Khalif, an Algerian boxer who had been banned from the World Championships for testing positive for male chromosomes, when you saw a young female Italian boxer quit after 40 seconds because she'd never been hit that hard and genuinely feared for her life, and Imam Khalif goes on to win gold medal at the Olympics, does that not ring an alarm bell for you, Don? I mean, do you not think that the reason we separate sexes in the Olympics
It's really
is
telling me to
because
go down there. I
males
just
have an
don't get it.
advantage? I mean, why would you not think that's important? It's
Do you
a
want me to
gold
tell you
medal.
the truth?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Piers, I'll tell you the truth about this. I heard about this story, but it's not something that I focus on. I'm not watching the Olympics like that.
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
know.
different. I'm just not. I'm not that interested in watching everything. I like to watch the swimming. I like to watch the gymnasts. I'm not interested in boxing or any of that because I think it's a brutal sport anyway. So for me, it's just not that interesting. I'm sorry that anybody was hit that hard, but if you put yourself in the arena to be hit and someone hits you hard, then whose fault is that?
Well, you expect to be hit by other women, not men.
Well, I
Well,
don't know that. I don't know
well,
who
when
she
men
expected to be
hit
hit
women,
by. I'm
we
sure
call it-
she
we
knew.
call it
I'm
violence.
sure she saw. I'm sure whoever was in that competition understood who they were going into the ring with. And if you put yourself
Not
in that
really.
competition in the middle of a ring where
Maybe
punches are
last
being
minute.
thrown,
Oh, by the
then
way.
you can expect to get hit hard, whether it is a man or a woman. And that's.
Have
all I
you
have to say
met?
about that.
Yeah,
You would
it's
have
the
no
South Park
objection
episode. Have
to
you
men
met
fighting women in
Heather
boxing.
Swanson? Oh, I'm sure she's a
I did not say that. I just said that's all I
perfectly
have to say about that.
reasonable
Isn't that
opponent.
isn't that the implication of what you're saying?
Ugh.
I've said
Looking
in
for
many different ways.
dudes.
That's all I have to say about that.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
he
I'm
just
trying
doesn't-
to
he
clarify
wants to
what you
stop
just said
talking.
about the boxing.
You-
Are you saying
Stop.
it's okay for
Stop.
I think I've been
Piers,
very clear.
stop.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's all I have to
think
say.
I've been
I
very clear to you.
yeah,
That's
I
all
don't want to say
have
any.
Well, you
I
have
don't want to say
just
anymore.
about
I don't want to say
started
anymore.
on
Back if you don't understand.
No,
No,
to start
no
with
take
what I think
backsies.
I just heard, which is you seem to think it's okay
Don
for
Lemon.
men to hit women in a boxing ring. Is that what you said? Clarify if you didn't.
I didn't say. I
Yeah,
don't think it's
will
okay
you
for men to
condemn?
hit women anywhere.
So why would it be okay in a boxing ring?
Well, again, I didn't say it's okay in a boxing ring. I just said that's all I have to
So
say
should-
about it. I
should-
don't
so-
think
okay,
it's okay
so-
for men to hit women.
So then
anywhere.
it sounds like you agree with me
Don's
that
just like,
biological
stop,
men should not be
please.
competing against women in a boxing ring.
Piers, no matter how hard you can try to, I told you, that's it.
It's
I'm
not
done
a gotcha
answering that
question,
I'm not
Don.
agreeing with you.
It's not a gotcha question.
I'm not saying it's a gotcha question. I'm just saying that I am done with this particular conversation. I don't think that it is productive. I've said what I said, and I'm not changing it. I don't agree with you. That's it.
But if you were doing your old show at CNN, you would have listened to your own response and gone, what exactly did he mean by that?
Yeah, dude, I love it. I love that Pierce is just
and then I would move on.
get after him, dude.
Okay, we'll move on.
Yep, you got
you
caught and you
criticised
want to just move
the
on.
MAGA right for turning Charlie Kirk into a martyr. You said
Done,
the
Kai.
black man on the left went around saying what Kirk said. The right wouldn't consider him a hero. It's an interesting point. Let's take a listen.
White women do not have brain processing power and are stealing jobs from black men, the right would fucking lose their mind. Mark Lamont Hill.
Oh shit! Don't no. Oh, I got him.
Let's just say these brothers.
I thought I was gonna lose him because I got outside the
Someone
bubble.
like that.
Good lord.
If they went around saying some shit like that, they would be canceled immediately. They would be fired. People would scrub them from their whatever business that they work for. Or if they said, when I get on a plane and I see a white pilot, I'm like, damn, we're gonna, I'm worried.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen that blow up a lot in the last few days. So I went back and actually watched exactly what Charlie Kirk
Where are you
said.
watching all this? I haven't seen any of this blow up that you're talking about.
Oh yeah, it's been everywhere. Everyone's been showing clips of Charlie Kirk all week on social media.
I have not seen it. I guess
Okay.
maybe I'm just not on social media.
I mean, what's interesting
Well,
watching it in context, it's a discussion that is prompted by the fact that Joy Reid, who you know well, had admitted she only got into Harvard because of DEI. So he said it all in the context of her revealing that, and which I think changes the impact of what he was saying. He wasn't just coming out with this. He was saying, there's Joy Reid admitting that she only got into Harvard because of DEI.
he's not gonna know what to say
What's
to
your
that.
question?
Yep.
So my question is, you've cited that example of him just unilaterally saying black women don't have the brain processing power and so on. But when you actually watch the whole clip in context, that's not what he said.
Like a real journalist
You're
would,
making my
Don.
point about the clip before, and which is the same point.
This is
about
why
the
we
clip
don't
now
trust
that you
journalists
played with
anymore.
me, where the context is explained,
Screw
which
the
is
garbage.
he was talking about not only Joy Reid, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, and it wasn't DEI that they were referring to. They were having discussions
Russia's
about
delivery.
affirmative action and about qualified
Food-like.
people, qualified women of color who were offered opportunities or given opportunities that they may not have been given if it were not for affirmative action. Nothing to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so what he said, and I watched the clip, he said that what they were admitting to is that they were somehow a DEI hire and so on, and about brain processing power. I would suggest that you go back and listen to the clip that that clip.
How dare
context of what
you?
he was saying. He clearly said what he said, and I guess because of political ideology or because of bias, people are trying to interpret it and make it into something else.
No,
That's
because
not
you're always
what he
lying,
said,
Don, and
okay?
you
He
get caught
was
in
very
your
clear about
lies.
the brain processing or lack of brain processing power for black women, or for those black women.
With
For-
Charlie Kirk,
You
a
just
lot of
said two
people
different
on
things right there,
have
Don.
come out gleefully celebrating what happened. A lot of people have been posting stuff on social media, very happy, and they've turned out to be teachers.
Yeah, black women. Those
professors,
black women.
Doctors,
Was it all
nurses,
black women or was it those black
extraordinary
women?
positions of power over other human beings. What should happen to
Yeah,
those
you're a
people?
liar, Don.
Well, I think we should look at every circumstances. It should be taken on the circumstances should be taken on their own merit, and what should happen to them should be taken, on individual merit. We should look at each of them. Now, I don't believe that anyone should be
They go invis? I didn't know that.
at all. Ever.
Is that?
And I don't think anyone should
Is that
be
happening all
celebrating
game?
Charlie Kirk's death.
I just
We
didn't notice
know,
it.
And you know, Piers, that freedom of speech does come with consequences, and there are limits, there are limitations to freedom of speech. And if you work for a private company, They have the right to fire you or discipline you for whatever it is that they want.
So what
If you
about Jimmy
break
Kimmel
the
and Hassan
rules,
Piker
their
and
codes of
Destiny?
conduct, then you have to suffer the circumstances. So, look, I 100% unequivocally believe that no one should be celebrating anything, and if any of those people broke the rules of their employer, their codes of conduct, then they should be disciplined or fired if it warrants it.
Do you agree?
But I don't believe in canceling people.
Oops.
Right.
I think there's a lot of cancellation going on the right now, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Do you feel?
I wasn't comfortable with it on the left either.
Right. Do you feel you were a victim of cancel culture at CNN?
I don't know if you can call it cancel culture though. I think we need to really unpack that and break that down.
Probably yes. I'm sure
If somebody's like running victory laps around Charlie Kirk being murdered a few days ago,
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is what
I don't know if being like, I don't want anything to do with you, bro, is the same thing as cancel culture. Especially if you're working for somebody, it's like, I don't want them working for me. They seem unhinged. They're celebrating murder? Who did we hire?
If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got it.
I'm not saying I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that.
when you watch that, Don, I happened to be watching that live, and I was like, "Whoa, what did you just say?" Do you? I mean, if you had a do-over, would you say that again? I mean, what led you to say
Okay,
that?
Piers, let me just say this. I'm going to answer your question, but just
This
so the
entire
audience
thing
knows,
isn't
and I hope
just
you don't cut this
calling
out.
him out.
When I asked you what subjects you wanted to talk about, you know what you said to me? You said, I want to talk to you about freedom of speech in America and the response
I'm
to
loving
Charlie
this.
Kirk's death.
Yeah.
Not once did you mention that we were going to talk about CNN or whatever. So, and had I known that, I probably wouldn't have accepted this interview. You have invited me on many times, and I tell you, Piers, I know you. I would come on your show, but I don't do panels. And so
Oh,
when you said
God.
you're not going to be involved in a panel, I agreed to come on your show, but I thought you would also stick by the subjects that you told me that you were going to talk
Well, just
about.
to be clear,
rather than
Don,
try to
Don,
ambush me.
This is too much.
So you and I
Yes.
haven't. Well, Don, just to be clear, you and I haven't had any conversation about your.
If I knew you were going to call me out like this, I wouldn't have showed up, Piers. Gall.
Yeah, no, and I saw you, Piers, in a restaurant, and I said, hey, Piers, good to see you.
Yeah.
I would come on your show, but I don't do panels.
Right,
And
you're
I
not
said
on
the
a
same
panel.
thing to your bookers.
There's only one
and
of
so
you,
when
Don.
I asked you, and right. Okay, and so, yes, and I said that's why I agreed to do it. But when you asked me, or when your team asked me what subjects, and I
This
asked
is
them
too funny.
2 or 3 times, I have the text messages.
This is
what
just
do you
too
want to cover?
funny.
Yeah.
Not
Too
once
funny.
was CNN mentioned. So I don't appreciate being ambushed. But let me answer your question
Ambush.
since
Hang on
we're
one
here.
second. Oh, Don,
Okay?
Don, hang on one second. Let's just be crystal clear about what's just happened. You brought up the subject of cancel culture. I asked you, did you feel your departure from CNN was an example of that? And you answered the question. And I think it's perfectly reasonable.
And I answered the question. and
Perfectly
that's it.
reasonable in that if you'd said to me, I don't want to
Piers, I
talk
don't
about
think-
Piers.
No, but hang on, no, so
Piers,
sorry. You said what you're going to say.
That is
By the way,
completely
we don't.
disingenuous. I
Don,
don't want to
we
get
don't. We
Piers,
don't
I
edit.
don't like arguing like this. I'm not going to get into an argument with you, Piers. I think that's completely disingenuous, and I think anyone watching that.
What are you
this will know
talking
that.
about?
And so, if you will let me, if you will allow me, please.
What are
please
you
How do I get?
talking about?
Oh, I think I have to go
Did you
around, don't I?
invite me here to
Yep.
interrupt me,
Yep.
or are
Yep.
you
Yep.
gonna let
I
me
think you're
answer the
being a
question?
complete dick, if I'm honest with you.
Ah!
I do.
Well, that's very kind and respectful of you.
It wasn't intended to be
I
kind
don't
or
like the
respectful.
hominem attacks. I could respond in kind,
You can
but
say
Don,
what you like
just-
about
I
it,
think
I don't
that I am.
Ah.
I think that I'm above that. I'm not going to do this. That's not who I am.
I don't understand why you're
Oh,
being a
politics
victim
is
card
so
when you yourself
goofy.
mention cancel culture.
Because Piers.
It's such a
Oh my
joke.
gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me just say. Let me do this.
What are you going to do?
Here we
Read
go.
out my
You
team's
want me to do
messages
this,
to you?
Piers? It should be embarrassing. Yeah, I can read out the team messages to you because
Shit.
I
What
think
are you
it's
prepared to
completely
talk about then,
unfair,
Don?
and you know that. Can
And
I'm
you
prepared to
know
answer
that.
your question, and then I'm going to move on. I told you I'm prepared to talk about Charlie Kirk's death, the response to it, and cancel culture, and and freedom of the press,
So
and freedom of speech.
you
I'm
were prepared to talk about
that. But
cancel
let me just
culture, or
answer,
you weren't?
Unless you. No.
He's getting angry.
I'm not prepared,
you're not
to, talk,
prepared to
I
talk
can
about
talk
cancel
about cancel culture, but that has. Oh my God, Piers, could you stop interrupting me?
Not
Are you
really. You're
trying
kind of
to, like,
exhausting
prove
me. It's
something?
ridiculous.
Piers is just digging his heels. Oh, this is one of the funniest segments I've heard in a while.
Obviously, it's rational and logical that I would ask you what happened to you at CNN was that. I played the clip,
Piers,
and then you
I've
throw it.
given you your moment enough. I've given you your moment.
I don't
It's
want a
going to go
moment.
viral. So
Oh,
Yes,
God.
you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't do this. Otherwise, you would be
Piss.
a respectful journalist and host, and
I
you
don't
would
think
let
you're
me
taking-
talk.
No, he's just not kissing your ass like you're used to,
Oh my
Don.
gosh, Piers.
I won't.
I can't even hear because there's a delay and you keep talking. And what do you want me to do? Like rip the earpiece out in the mic and run off so you have a
No,
moment?
I don't care.
No, you've already done that, Don. You've done that before. You've literally done that. We watched you do that.
I don't know why you've gone on this weird rant.
That was the
I
last
don't
time
understand any
you
of
were
it. Why have
on
you done this
national
weird
television, I'm pretty
reaction?
sure.
I simply asked you about whether you felt your departure from CNN was, in your eyes, an example of cancel culture. I played the clip,
Piers,
and
you're
I then said,
embarrassing yourself, and I tried
when you
to-
watch it back,
No,
you
this
really
has been
understand
good,
what you were
Don.
saying.
This has been
This is why I don't do this.
entertainment
You're
for the
embarrassing
week.
yourself, Piers.
Actually, you might be
And
embarrassing
you
yourself,
are-
Don.
Such
Oh my
trash
God.
TV.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be. Have you thought of that?
Okay.
You're a journalist. You don't want to talk about a story, a
It's
massive
true.
story that involves
He needs to be told this. He's a fucking joke.
Piers, can we move on? You can let me answer the question, and then we can talk about the things that you
Sure.
invited me on to
Why
talk
don't you just
about.
answer the question to start with?
And we've gotten so far away from what you wanted me to answer that we're off into La La Land. So let me say something about that. The clip that you played had nothing to do with me leaving CNN, okay? And unless you know something that I don't know about me leaving CNN, then you should tell me about it. It had nothing to do. I worked there for months after that, so that had nothing to do with it. And so, and I forget the other thing that you were asking me about in that clip. But
I asked you when
anyways,
you watched the
so
clip
let's
back,
move on.
if you could explain what was going through your mind. That's all.
Thank you. I think the key phrases in that clip, if you want to be honest, and I want you to listen to it, is that I'm not saying that I believe that. That's not according to me. What I was speaking for there is how society treats women. And someone like Nikki Haley should know, if women have been discriminated against for centuries, she should be more careful than to say something that discriminates against older people. That's it. And so people took that out of context. No one puts in whenever they write about it that I said, I'm not saying that. I don't believe that. I said that very clearly there. So that is not the reason that I was
Fucking
let
nav,
go
I swear.
from
Okay,
CNN.
there it is.
And so again, unless you know
Starts
something,
from over there.
then go ahead.
Well,
and tell
as
me,
you
but
know, it
that's
was
not-
widely reported that was. So
that's not what I know.
So what was the reason?
Don't believe everything you read.
What was the reason?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
But it all happened after that incident. You know that.
Yeah. Well, Piers, everything happens after something. I don't understand what your point is.
Well, my point is, I think it's quite newsworthy. If you say it had nothing to do with that, then it'll raise the obvious question.
I don't think it's newsworthy, Piers. That was 3 years ago.
Right.
That's three. It's not newsworthy. News means something that's new. This isn't new.
Right.
That was 3 years ago. That's
Okay,
been
but it's
all
the first-
litigated.
it's
If
the
you want to
first
find
time
out about it, you are free to be able to read the interviews that I read. You're free to read the statement that perhaps your folks should pull up the statement when I left CNN, and that can explain to you what happened. So this is nothing new.
You
It's
just
all
told me
water
you've
under
no
the bridge.
idea why you
I have
were let
moved
go.
on. I'm doing something completely different, and so that's that.
Right, but you just said you've no idea why they got rid of you.
Yeah, I did.
So how do you know it wasn't to do with the clip we just played?
I just said that. I just answered your question. Now, what else do you want to talk about?
He kind of did, though,
What do
Pierce.
you want to talk about, Dom?
Yeah, that was kind of dumb,
The
Pierce.
subjects that you invited me on.
How do you
discuss
know?
here.
I just told you I don't know.
Free speech and
Yeah.
everything around that.
I know you're loving this viral
But I think
moment.
we
just
do
that
know.
you're
That's
being-
the
I don't
difference.
think you understand me at all. I don't got nothing against you at all. Never have had. I was
Piers,
perfectly.
you think I don't understand you, Piers? I worked with
And
you for
honestly,
years.
I can't
know
remember
about
the
you
exact
probably
reason,
more
but
than
there
most people who are
was a
watching this program,
reason
and most people
why
a lot of the people
he
who
got
work with
canned.
you.
Why would
I
I?
worked with your staff. I inherited. Hang on. I
been-
inherited your
it
staff.
was a while
And
ago.
I know
How
way
many years
more
ago
about
was
you than
that?
I would care to know. I know way more about how you do business and how you approach journalism than I care to know. I have not been on anyone else's show. I don't want to be on anybody's show. I don't want to do panel shows. I don't want to argue with people about things that are inconsequential. What we should be talking about right now is how to keep
Need some
what happened
scraps of
to
food?
Charlie Kirk from happening to anybody else. That's where the conversation should be. But instead, you're trying to get a moment. You're trying to make some news out of something. But go ahead, have your fun. But we should be discussing
something that is productive to the American people instead of you going into the garbage and trying to find something that will, give you a moment or that you will, get a click out of it or more viewers for your program.
You sound very bitter, Don.
Piers, are you kidding me?
No.
Bitter. I'm the happiest go lucky person ever. I'm just exposing your hypocrisy and how you lied to me about what you wanted to discuss.
I've never talked to you about this interview at all.
You don't have conversations with your producers? So your producers lied to me, or you're not that involved in...
You've omitted one of the subjects we wanted to talk to you about.
You're not that involved in the editorial process of your own show where they don't convey to you
by your own admission
what you are... That the guest is... what the guest is going to talk about on the program?
You obviously expected
Are you not that involved in the editorial process of your own show that you don't know that?
This is bad.
That one of the subjects was free speech, and yet here you are getting enraged about me exercising my right to free speech to ask you a few questions.
Piers, I'm not enraged. I'm not enraged at all. I think this is kind of funny. I'm not enraged at all. I mean, it's kind of exactly what I thought, like, hey,
Pot profit.
Piers Morgan show because of the spectacle of it all, and so that's confirmation of that. But I'm glad you got this moment. This is a moment for me as well. That's going to play out on social media. It's going to be good for me too. So go for it.
What moment do you think we've got?
Piers, come on.
Come on. I don't know what you mean.
Come on. Let's do something that's more productive.
Come on.
Well, look,
I mean, it's just...
Honestly, when you do this,
come on.
when you say that
it's like Jimmy. Come on.
you do this, or like it's not journalism.
I mean, guys, come on, guys. Like,
big,
seriously.
high moral ground.
Come on.
Hang on.
They're all like, yeah.
You've taken a
Yeah.
better than
Come
anyone
on.
where this conversation should be going, especially since
Yeah, everybody.
you
Come
understand what
on.
happened at CNN.
Yeah, come on.
With gun control in the United States.
Yeah.
That was
Come
a
on.
big thing for you when you were at CNN, and I'm not sure what happened.
Boss!
Part of the reason that you were let go, but
Let's go!
Hey, Piers, this is Don Lemon. I know you. I've worked with you. I know a lot about you. So let's just.
It's that 300 kinetic too.
Let's talk about.
It's still doing some damage à trois.
And that is sensible gun legislation in the United States that would have perhaps prevented the untimely and sad death of Charlie Kirk. Can we do that?
How would it have
The
prevented-
gun, yeah.
prevented
In stabbing in the same week, you can't do this.
Why don't you tell me? Because you
Fatal stabbing the same week, and you're talking about gun control.
At least you were when you were working at CNN. You were very pro gun legislation, and I believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, pro gun control.
Yeah, I don't understand how you stop a deranged young man who the investigators say has become radicalized to the left from taking his grandfather's old rifle and using it to fire one bullet that kills Charlie Kirk. If you can think of a legislation that would
I
stop that.
think you just
let me know.
answered that. You said your grandfather's old rifle.
Right.
So look, perhaps it should have
A
been
buyback?
in a safer place.
Would you know where it was?
Should be
Is that where you're headed?
rules. Hang on. There should be rules as it relates to people, young people in the house who can have possession of guns. There are a whole lot of things
What
that we
the
can talk
f-
about
rules?
as it relates to
What
sensible gun
rules?
control
He's gonna
and
grab the
rules
gun
and
anyway.
around guns. And so,
Oh my
I don't know
God.
the circumstances in his home. I do
You were
know
an
that
idiot,
it was a
Don.
conservative MAGA family, a gun-loving family, and so perhaps if we didn't have more guns than people in the United States, and our gun laws were
Yeah, that's a
so
problem, but
lax,
cat's already out of the
perhaps
bag,
we could
so
prevent a whole lot
find a
of these
solution
deaths.
that's not retarded.
You're in the UK, all over Europe, all over different continents and different countries in the world. Everybody has mental health issues.
I don't know, maybe if there's like some rules that a kid couldn't break, because kids don't break rules.
And so that is the only difference.
Yeah,
in this.
and
so to
people
me
don't
and to
break
most
rules.
Sensible people in this country and all over the world, it seems to us and me that perhaps if we got a handle on that, we too could be like England. We too could be like Ireland. We too could be like Italy. We too could be like even countries that are not a part of Europe. We too could be that
And
way
do you
and not
think
have
that?
so many.
And do you think
He's
that-
like not
and
even
do
sure
you
what to
think
say
one of-
anymore
all right,
because he's
and
like
do you
running
think
out of
one the
like
reasons
nice places
why
to say, but he's like,
issues
wait, they're all
with
Western
Charlie
countries.
Kirk
Shit, what am I
is
supposed to
that
say
people
here?
like his opinion?
Maybe that aren't in Europe, some nicer countries that, well, you know, then
If what law
when
enforcement said about if the text messages or if that all comes out in evidence and they are true, then yeah, I think he's given his reasons. I think he gave the reasons. He didn't like what Charlie Kirk stood for. He didn't like what he said. I don't believe that's a reason to kill anybody or shoot anyone. But if this is true, he has admitted to that.
Okay. And finally, Don, we started this, just to be fair. You said you don't like the way that the MAGA crowd have reacted to Charlie Kirk because they're doing it just for clicks and stuff about somebody's death. And yet,
Some of them. Not, I said some of them.
Okay.
I said some of them, not all of them.
Which ones in particular are you thinking of?
Well, if you go back and watch the Don Lemon show on YouTube, or if you watch Don Lemon on social media, you will find I mentioned some people, and you can.
How do you get up there?
So you object to clickbaity headlines about people and death?
Ooh, I think I see.
Do I object to what?
Clickbaiting headlines about people and death.
Yes. Come on.
Not necessarily. I think that's part of our culture. I think it's part of our culture, and I think it's
Is it something you
is
ever
a
do?
byproduct of. It is
Yes.
a byproduct, please.
It's,
of
that means he's
our
guilty.
siloed,
One
media, and
hundo.
I think people perhaps sometimes do it to get attention, whether it's right
I
or whether
hate
it's wrong.
clickbait.
Sometimes people do it to break through, whether that's
I-
right or wrong. It's just simply what it is. That's
Sure,
a matter
but
of fact.
It's like something I've had to like I've been like forced into participating in, and I'm like, I just cringe every time I do it. I'm like, no, I don't like it. I really don't like it. I like just doing my own titles and stuff, even if I don't get any views. I don't like cringing every time. I'd rather cringe at getting no views than doing something that's against my nature.
2 weeks ago,
I'm not done talking yet, Piers. I'm not done talking yet, Piers. I didn't finish my statement. I say sometimes you have to do things to get people's attention so that they can click on something and to see if it is important or not. And
I
they
got
can
up
make a
here.
decision about if they want to continue on with the
got
content.
it. No, I got it. That's the whole point of clickbait, yeah. You had a headline 2 weeks ago, hot takes, could Donald Trump be dying?
National Enquirer type shit, Don.
Yeah, a lot of folks did. I think you probably did a show on.
Yeah,
it.
you know, I was
And because people were asking. If you look at even in some of the mainstream media, people were asking. Donald Trump's administration was not transparent about how sick he was during COVID. And so what leads people to believe that Donald Trump's administration is going to be transparent
Didn't
about what's
seem
happening
that
with
sick
his
if he was back
about
in
what's
like
happening with his hands,
couple
about what's
weeks.
happening with
Sure,
his
but
ankles,
let's just be
about
clear,
what's
he's
happening with his
obviously-
health. He is the leader of the free world. People
Yeah,
have
he's
the right
fucking
to
how old? He's getting up there, Don. Yeah.
He wasn't dying. You knew he wasn't dying.
Yeah, but he's
obviously
still
dying,
he's still
and he
with
was doing
us.
it for clickbait, which is the very thing.
Biden was not with us. He was in a different world.
People are asking if he's dying. That's
Got
it.
it. Got it.
I don't see that there's anything wrong with that.
Nope. Don Lemon, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Do
indeed.
you?
Yeah, we've run out of time, Don. You know what it's like in the news business.
Yeah. Thank you, Piers.
Thanks
Good
for
to
coming on
talk to you.
Uncensored.
That was a shit show. That was funny though. That was one of the funniest bits I've seen in a while.
We offer only one simple thing.
That actually works though, because
Subscribe on
I need to get
YouTube
some
and
breakfast.
follow
It is about that time.
on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And in return, we will continue our mission to inform, irritate, and entertain. And we'll do it all for free. Independent, uncensored media has never been
All right.
critical.
Go get some breakfast, and I will see you guys back when I am on a full stomach and lethargic and not saying a word. It's gonna be so much fun. Just you wait.